Welcome back here to Mountain Connections. Very, very excited to have our next guest with us. They're here to talk about this May's 150-year anniversary of John Wesley Powell's expedition of the Green and Colorado Rivers. And here today with us we have Carol Ormond. She's the author of the new book, The People, The Missing Piece of John Wesley, as well as Cevin Ormond. He's a publisher of the book. Thank you so very much for joining us. We really appreciate it. So before we get into this amazing book that you authored, let's talk a little bit about Mr. John Wesley Powell and his impact on the southwestern United States.
Yeah, at the time in 1869, he was the first person who was able to navigate the Grand Canyon down the Colorado River. Never been done, and as a matter of fact was so treacherous and dangerous that newspapers reported the demise of his whole expedition, and so when he went back greatly exaggerated, yes.
As much of the press was at the time, right? But
yeah. So there was an area that was the size of, I don't know, a couple of smaller states, Rhode Island and some of the eastern states, that had never been explored, and so he was the first one to explore that area, and then after that, of course, it opened up and
now we know it as it is.
Yes.
But he is the person responsible for really breaking the ground and being the trailblazer in terms of exploring this region. But
yes.
We have to also note that he did it with the help of the Paiute Indians.
Yes, and that's what the book, The People, is about.
So let's talk about your book and how it paints a new picture of this expedition.
Yes.
Let's talk about your book.
Okay, that would be great. In 1869, he did not have a photographer, and so these photographs of the indigenous people from down in southern Utah and northern Arizona, Nevada, that area, were actually taken in 1872 and 1873. And at that point, they really were instrumental in helping him. One of the big things, as anybody who lives here in Utah knows, is the issue of water.
Absolutely.
And so how to find it, and especially down in the desert. And so that was one of the big ways that that the Southern Paiute Indians were able to help John Wesley Powell and his men. They had this amazing ability to know where small pockets of water were, where to find water. So that was one of the ways that they helped.
They were key in helping his expedition be successful, which is
absolutely
a major
well,
piece
even
there.
to survive, actually.
Exactly, and I was just going to ask you, Cevin, why is it important that we're right on the heels of the 150-year anniversary? Why is it important to revisit this story in maybe a different lens, and under the lens of the people who helped him?
You know, it's an amazing thing. What happened was that, of course, in 1869, they drove the Golden Spike. 2 weeks later, Powell takes the train to Green River, drops his boats in the river, floats all the way down the Green and the Colorado, gets out where the Virgin comes in, which is underneath Lake Powell today. Or Lake Mead, excuse me,
yes.
Lake Mead today. And so, you know, that was his first expedition, was just kind of go down the river. But then he arranged and came back and brought photographers. They brought 1,000 pounds of photographic equipment.
Wow.
Imagine this by boat and horseback and whatever in that country down there. Climbed out of the canyon. They got there. They spent over winter in Kanab. They did all this stuff down there that they couldn't have done without that. They created this record. There's only 2 of these existing records. One's in the Smithsonian, the other's in southern Utah in Mount Carmel. That's the only 2 that exist.
Wow.
And that culture was gone 10 years after this was taken. So this is the last record of the last Aboriginal culture. And you can actually see the original photos down there in Mount Carmel. I actually got to pull them all down from the wall, physically touch and scan them all in for this book.
What an amazing experience.
It's an amazing thing. Yeah,
That's
it was
cool.
So cool.
Way to just get back into history and really, like as I said, see this story that's famed in a kind of a new perspective, which is really awesome. You highlighted right into the next event, which is on May 18th, 2019, coming up, and it's down at Mount Carmel where people can see a lot of the photographs. Is that right?
They can see the original collection, and then there'll be other events. They've commissioned some original paintings of areas that Powell explored, 40 original paintings by Robert Goldman.
Wow.
They're going to have a day-long event. You'll be able to visit the Maynard-Dixon home down in Mount Carmel, and that'll be open and free to the public to be able to go in and see. It's a beautiful,
there's an RSVP
beautiful
reception.
Yep.
Excellent.
Now
Yes.
there's another event on the 9th.
On the 9th as well.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes, and that'll be for those who aren't able to make it to Mount
To
Carmel.
Mount Carmel, yeah.
We've taken 40 of the photographs, enlarged them, and there'll be a wonderful exhibit at the Viridian Event Center,
Oh, wow.
the Salt Lake County Library, Viridian Event Center, May 6th through May 30th, and there'll be a reception and book signing on May 9th from 7 to 8:30
Yep.
p.m. In West Jordan, Utah.
Definitely want to get up close and personal with these photographs.
Yes,
Yeah,
They're
this is another
fantastic.
original piece of artwork that was commissioned specifically for this book.
Definitely want to highlight this. And this is a photo of the creation story, correct?
Yeah, this,
Yes.
this is an oil painting.
Oil painting, pardon me,
But
not a
yes,
photograph.
it's a of their creation story that the Paiutes have. At least one of several, actually, but one of the most prominent ones. And so this was done by Delene Marsh as a commissioned painting. And so
And that'll also be at the Mount Carmel
and that will also
Gallery.
be at the exhibit in Mount Carmel. It's also included in the book as it was commissioned for the book.
And where can people find the book as well? Maybe if they're not able to make it to one of these events, which I
Right.
highly encourage you to do so, but if they can't, where can they find
Well,
the book?
I'm the publisher, so let me answer that. Okay, my publishing company is called Get Her Done Books.
Excellent.
And you go to thepeoplebooks.com.
Okay.
And you can order it directly there, and we'll ship you a signed copy.
Oh, wow.
And include one of these
And
in
include
it.
one of those.
And so they'll get a nice little print of the original artwork as well.
Perfect. That's fantastic.
And half the proceeds go to support the Thunderbird Foundation for the Arts.
Which is great. Which is housing the Mount Carmel event, which is fantastic.
It's housing the Maynard-Dixon Museum, and they own the photographic collection. You've got to see these original photographs. They're 150-year-old photos.
150 years
made
old.
in the desert in a tent. You've got to see these.
It's
nuts.
completely agree. It's amazing, and it's a really great piece of Southwestern history
Yes,
to
it
be a
is.
part of it. If you can't make it down to Mount Carmel, you got to make it to the Salt Lake City, the West Jordan.
Salt Lake County.
Library. But
In West
definitely
Jordan,
encourage
yeah.
you to make it down to Mount Carmel, because the environment there will kind of put you in that feeling
Absolutely.
as well with these aged 150-year-old photographs. Thank you both so very
There's a
much.
reception that night. If you do want to go down to the reception, you do need RSVP.
RSVP for sure, definitely. And
Yeah,
where
for
can
the
they do so? Just by calling the phone number? Or?
Yeah, go to the Thunderbird Foundation .com, I believe.
ThunderbirdFoundation.com. You can RSVP there
Yes.
for the Mount Carmel event. Thank you so very much for joining us. We really
Thanks.
appreciate it. Again, that was Carol Ormond, author of The People, The Missing Piece of John Wesley, and Cevin Ormond, the publisher of the book. Be sure and head down to the Mount Carmel event if you can. These are 150-year-old photographs repainting the story of the famous expedition. We'll be right back with much more right here on Mountain Connections after this short break.